In climate change, cows tend to get a really bad name, but do they deserve it? Let's hear from Jake Ryan from 3 Ryans down in Manjimup, southwest Western Australia, about his thoughts on this topic. In this video, I interviewed Jake about his regenerative practice to minimize tillage on his land, a practice he calls strip tillage. He is one of the first, if not the first, in Western Australia to implement such an innovative practice.
Rightio, so these are our cabbages. So these won't be harvested until November, so we're not ready to harvest yet.
Yeah.
So these are all destined for processors. So they go to different Harvest Fresh, Primo, Smorgasbord, a few different ones, and they chop them up and bag them off from the cold store. Like different, you know, those bags buying Coles, yes. Woolies, Aldi, yes. All those places. Yes. So in the summertime, we're like 70% of the per supply cabbage.
Wow.
Or everything we grow, especially even kale, broccoli, cauliflower, is just about destined for processing. So everyone's moved towards this. Buy a packet salad from Coles and Woolies, yes. With your packet of sausages or whatnot, and there's dinner. So this is all where we moved. We started off when we grew cauliflowers, just about, well, vegetables, we grew straight cauliflowers, all destined for Singapore export. Yep. So they were our biggest buyer of cauliflowers. Yep. Yeah, at the time there was 80 vegetable growers in Manjimup. 80 cauliflower growers. We're down to maybe 4 or 5 cauliflower growers. Yeah, so the numbers have really dropped. So, and in that we've also diversified. We've dropped our cauliflower numbers, and now we grow these cabbages, broccoli, collies, and whatnot. But we've recently adopted a new method of growing vegetables called strip tillage.
Yep.
So the idea is that, it's probably easier saying these ones, but we only till this bit of soil. So we only plough that bit of ground up. Yep. The rest of the ground is left untouched.
Like in between?
Yes, yep. So here isn't tilled, so that will never get ploughed up. Yep. Only that spot where the vegetable is. Yep. It's actually not the best one to show. There's a tractor drives down here, fertiliser and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, so the idea is that we're trying to reduce tillage on the farm. Mm-hmm. So tillage is really bad. So have you watched what's the documentary on Netflix?
Which one? Is it the Woody Harrelson one?
Yes, that one.
Kiss the Ground. Kiss
the Ground, that's the one. Where at the start they've got Ray Archuleta doing a presentation, and he's looking at the global carbon dioxide emissions. Yep. On the computer. I
remember now.
So he's looking at carbon emissions, and he's going through all the months of the year, and then he gets to June, July. It's where America and Australia and all that grow their crops, and all of a sudden, boom, there's all this spike in carbon dioxide release. So carbon dioxide, one of the biggest emitters is the tillage of the soil emitting carbon dioxide. Yep. So vegetables for us are our most destructive practice.
Because you have to till.
Because we have to till the soil. So you're looking since Industrial Revolution, I think something like 20 to 40% of carbon dioxide emissions have come from ploughing the soil. Like, it's a massive number, but it doesn't get any recognition because everyone blames fossil fuels and all these other things for rising CO2 issues, which I think is only part of the story with climate change and global warming.
Oh yeah. A lot of our farmers have adopted no-till farming.
Yes.
For a while now.
In Western Australia.
Yes. So
in terms of broadacre, yep. In terms of vegetables, no.
Right.
So we're the first in West Australia to adopt strip tillage. The rest are all conventional tillage. So we're talking, so before we did strip tillage, we used to multi-disc or speed till the ground twice. Yep. We'd deep rip it, and we would speed till it again 2 more times. So we would really, beat the shit out of it. Really, so the idea of why it's bad, right, is that you have the soil there, you go through, plough it up, you destroy the soil structure, and you pump a heap of oxygen in. That then gets the bacteria and the microorganisms to go crazy because they've got all this oxygen. They go through and they start consuming all the organic matter. When they consume the organic matter, they then release CO2, and that's where you get this carbon dioxide flux. But for farmers, that's good. Right. Because the carbon dioxide is a fertiliser boost, pretty much. You get that. So the stomata of a plant, so where the plants breathe, you think it's on top of the leaf, it's not. It's underneath the leaf. is like the carbon dioxide levels at soil level are far greater than what's in the atmosphere. So plants breathe from pretty much the ground up.
Yeah.
So that's why farmers always till, because it gave you that fertility hit when you ploughed your ground up. You got that flush of carbon dioxide with the microbes breaking organic matter down. Organic matter is only 50% carbon. The other 50% is minerals.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you get this fertility hit, and all of a sudden your crops can grow a lot quicker than if you didn't till the soil.
Do you think more and more farmers are starting to adopt this better practice of just strip tilling? We're talking vegetables farmers now, I guess.
Honestly, probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
Well, there hasn't been a push, has there? Like, consumers are moving towards a more vegetable-based diet because all of a sudden the cow's got the bad name.
Yeah.
And the vegetable farmers haven't had anything, so why change? There's more demand now, and there's nobody, and there's no like incentive, I suppose, unless you're concerned about the environment like we are. There's no incentive for you to change your practice. There's like fuel savings and a bit of water saving and whatnot, but the equipment's expensive, and most farms aren't set up for it.
So there's clearly a consumer pull here.
Of course, consumers drive everything that farmers do. So, like, even the chemical use, like, you go to a shop, right, and you see lettuce, something that's got a bug hole in it, versus one that doesn't, you'll buy the one without the bug hole. Coles and Woolies don't like, or the supermarkets don't like that. They want, obviously, everything on the shelf sold, so then they go to the farmer, we had damage on your produce, can you sort it out? So then it drives farmers to move towards a system where
more chemicals.
So you get a bag of coleslaw and it might have a wasp in it, which is a beneficial insect because it eats the caterpillar. But the consumer will take that bag back as, it's got a bug in it. So it's like, well, it's hard to change when the consumers are trying to drive towards something else, even though they don't think they are kind of thing. So it's like, we're trying. It's like cows have got a bad name for methane emissions. But people aren't looking at the full story. So why do cows produce methane? So before humans in agriculture, there's more herbivores on the planet than there are now. But people haven't looked at like it's not the cow, it's the how. It's how it's raised. So a cow that is on a grain diet in feedlots will produce far more methane than a cow that's eating grass. But the whole reason why cows produce methane is because they balance in the pH of the rumen. So when you feed them grain, right, it causes the acidity of the gut to increase, so the pH drops. So a rumen wants to be in your mid-6s to 7. It needs to be alkaline. When you feed them grain, all of a sudden you get issues with acidosis, is what it's called. And that causes pH of gut drop, and then they get all these funny ferments going on and whatnot. So the cows, to try and prevent that or stop it, it's got certain organisms in the guts that will take the hydrogen, attach it to carbon, and emit it as methane. So methane is a one carbon molecule with 4 hydrogen ions. So 3 hydrogen ions are a measure of acidity. So as you feed them a more acid diet kind of thing, they produce more methane.
That's interesting, isn't it?
So it's a real backwards way of what they're trying to do. They're not looking at the full picture.
In a world that is complex and interconnected, we consumers can pull at one thread and cause unintended consequences. Thank you to Jake for encouraging us to think more holistically about the system. In the next video, we hear more from Jake about his thoughts on regenerative agriculture. In the meantime, you can find out more about Jake and 3 Ryans here. I've also included information about my Churchill Fellowship. Thank you for watching, everyone.